Hello and welcome. My name is Kevin. This is episode 3 of Argument Parsing in Rust. This time we're going to pick up exactly where we left off. Last time we were talking a little bit about metadata for applications, but we didn't include some of those special values. If we go back to the documentation for the abstract, some of the things we didn't talk about were the bin name, the help short and version short, as well as the templating. So let's talk about those really quickly. This should be somewhat of a shorter episode compared to some of the other ones. Let's start off with the bin name. So if we go back to our application, I'm going to go ahead and remove this usage string that we applied last time manually. I'm also going to remove the before and after because they're not providing a whole lot right now. All right. So the bin name. Remember how this right here, the name of the application can be different from the actual bin name. But notice even when we set this to something different than our bin name, our usage string, I apologize, I'm forgetting what my keystrokes are. Our usage string was still, actually this was one that we made ourselves. Going to the auto-generated ones. Our usage string still picked up the actual bin name because when you're telling the user, hey, this is how you probably should have run something, or this is how you can run something, you don't want to give them my awesome fake application v0.1, whatever. So it'll pick up the bin name. What the bin name metadata method does is it overrides that. It says, forget about whatever bin name you picked up when this application was run, set it to this. Now, there's some use cases where you might want to do that. Basically, what you're doing is you're telling either you're lying to clap or you're telling clap to lie about what is something along those lines. Now, why would you ever want to do that? There are some very good use cases. For example, if you were writing a cargo third-party subcommand, the way that works is you make a subcommand. Let's clear this out of the way. You make a subcommand, and it has to be called cargo-something. There's a few of them that I've made. One of them was called cargo count. So there's one called cargo count. The binary name is cargo-count or cargo tac count, however you want to say it. When it's run like this. Cargo count, arguments to that. When it gets run, the binary that it gets picked up as is cargo count. Now, when we make a usage string or an error message or something along those lines, what we don't want is the usage string to look like cargo count, args, because that would be somewhat confusing to the user. So instead, what we do is we say, forget about any sort of bin name that you detect when this program is run. We're called simply cargo. Then what happens, instead of cargo count, args, we now get the very nice generated cargo count, args. This is a little bit abstract. If you go check out the GitHub page under my name, kbnap/cargo count, you can check out the repository and see how that's done. But that's one reason why you would lie, or you would want to lie to Clapper, have Clap lie to the OS, or however that's working, whatever that relationship is. You're telling it that your bin name is something else. You're just overriding your bin name, binary name. So that's something you could do. And I can demo that really quickly. Now, when we run this, remember we removed our custom usage string. So this should be a auto-generated one. You see we have not fake. Now, in this particular instance, that wouldn't be super helpful because if the user tried to run not fake, it wouldn't work. So that's there's an edge use case there, and something you should be aware of when you're using bin name. It's not necessarily just to name the bin name or something like that. That in the documentation, I think it spells out, hey, use this carefully. And only when you know that's what you need. If you have any questions, by all means, hit me up on GitHub or any other method, and I'll be happy to answer questions about it. So that's the bin name. If we go back down, one of the other ones, help short and version short. These two right here. These are somewhat metadata related and somewhat not. What they do is, if we check clap auto generates, notice in our declaration right here, we have not defined any arguments. Yet somehow -h and -help or -v and -version were generated for us. Clap automatically generates those. And that's what we've been using this whole time, -h or -help. If we don't want those to be generated, what we have to do is define an argument of help or version, and clap will not generate something if you've already generated it. But let's say you do want them auto-generated, but you don't like the fact that lowercase h is in use now. You can reset that to something other than lowercase h. Let's say you want to use lowercase h for some other part of your project. For example, actually exa uses lowercase h for something. So in that case, you may not want clap to auto-generate that part, but you want it to auto-generate the rest of it, such as, just the long -help. If you look over here, we can set that to something else, such as a capital H. We can put, sorry, I don't know what I'm doing in Vim right now. We can put things like a dash before it, but that's going to be stripped. There's no reason to. So we put a capital H. This time, when we run it, if we run -h, we'll get an error here. Lowercase h. Remember, we changed it to capital H. It says, sorry, argument was not found. This is, or it wasn't valid. Try -help. Oh, notice we actually left our not fake. Let's change that real quick because that's actually going to bother me. Okay. Okay. So we still get that error message. Let's do -help. There we go. That's right. We did change it to capital H. So we have a capital H now. We can also change that to nothing, I believe. It's been a while since I wrote this code, so forgive me if this doesn't work. Nope. Okay. If we put nothing, then it does. Then it sets it. There is a way to tell it to not generate the help or the long by defining your own arguments. But that is a way to change it from the default lowercase h apologize, I wasn't sure why I exited there. That's a way we can change the short. The same thing works for version. If you don't like to use a capital V, you can use a lowercase v as well. Or change it to lowercase v or whatever the case is. So that's the help short. The one last thing I want to talk about is templating. I just wanted to make sure there was nothing else in here we needed to cover real quick. All right, templating. We saved this one for last because this is the one, it's a little bit longer, I guess. The way templating works, if you want to totally rearrange how the help message is displayed, yet you still want it auto-generated, you don't want to write the whole thing by hand every time, you can use what's called templates. And then these are the categories for specifying the stuff that clap auto-generates. So right now, the default template, so to speak, is before help, the bin name or the name of the application, the version, then the author, then the about, then the flags, then the options, positional, subcommands, and then after help. If you want to change that for whatever reason, put them in different orders or put a bunch of stuff in between those or whatever the case is, but you don't want to totally rewrite your help message because help messages fall out of date. And I can tell you there's almost nothing more frustrating than a help message that's out of date. When you are staring at the help message, typing in exactly what it says, yet for some reason it's not working. So I am very much in favor of auto-generated help messages, yet sometimes you just want it to look a little bit differently. In that case, use templates. The way this works is we come down here and then we say template. Now, just for sanity's sake, sanity is maybe a bad word for it, I usually put it all on a new line and I'll line it up the way I like it. Just to make sure there's no extra tabs and things getting stuck in there that I'm not aware of. But so for right now, like I said, we have usually the before help, the name, the version, author, and then about. Let's say for some weird reason we want to put the bin name, v version, because we want that v in there. We don't want the author up front. We want to have an extra space. We want to put some lines and then put about. Then we don't really care about usage, so we're not going to put the usage in here. We don't want to specify flags, options, positionals, all that stuff separately, so we're just going to say all args. Then we're going to do some extra stuff down here, and then we're going to put the author. And here we're going to say copyright the author. 2016, sure, this is a fake copyright. And then maybe we have an after. I think it's after help. Let me check that documentation real quick. Yep, after help. All right. So let's try this real quickly. Now we don't have any after help, so let's add this. That's going to cause an error. All right. Hopefully this worked. Cross your fingers. There we go. So we changed it to my awesome application. We added a V inside there. Then we have the version. We have some of this stuff. Then we put the about. We put our flags. Flags is all we have right now. Since we put all args, this is where flags, options, positionals, subcommands, all that stuff would have ended up. Then we added some more tax, copyright the author. This is something after. So you can see you can totally change around your help message with a template, vice writing it yourself. Templates are probably, in my mind, one of the coolest things you can do with your help message. That's also a very unknown feature. A lot of people don't know about it. And actually, it's thanks to, I think it's Herman. I'm horrible with names. So let me check the graph real quick because I want to give this guy proper credit. This was pretty awesome when he added this. There we go. H. Greco. Hernan Greco. He's the one that contributed all the templating to Clap. So big thanks to him. Really big thanks to all of the 53 or however many contributors there have been. Huge thanks to everybody because everybody's added something pretty awesome to it. Yeah, so that's templating. Templating is extremely powerful and something that's pretty awesome that I'd like to see more people use. So that is all of the metadata. Again, all the metadata works on all of the subcommands as well. So feel free to change that all around because it's all independent of the parent or the parent command. So hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.